This corruption is going to stop. It's pushing good people over the top. It's causing pain they don't deserve. These fucking judges, what a nerve. I can smell the smoke in the air. People losing their lives every day. We can't stand for this bullshit game. It's time to light this shit on fire. Let's burn the bitch down. They take our lives. Let's burn the bitch down. It should be no surprise. Let's burn the bitch down. They deserve what they get. Let's burn the bitch down. There is no regret. They're taking kids, ruining their future, making dads run scared through the fire. The courts destroying families, they're such a liar. When the days turn into the nights, they give up, they have no fight. When you break the man, you take his soul. When you take his child, consider yourself told. Let's burn the bitch down. They cause our pain. Let's burn the bitch down. We're not insane. Let's burn the bitch down. They had their chance. Let's burn the bitch down. We show our stand. They are taking our kids every day. I shout them in and no one has a thing to say for those who have been isolated. Don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken, god damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids' pictures held up like thin tags. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior, and we cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stop.
I was wondering what happened. I guess Darren will be on.
My button broke. My button on
Oh,
my mouse. I had emergency mouse button breaking. So I
oh
couldn't.
my God.
Yeah, holy smokes. That was panic for a minute. That was like 2 minutes of like calm, like, oh, this is nice. To, oh, shit.
Did you
So
fix it?
I think so. I think I got it right now. I'll be on there in just 1 second.
Is our guest on?
Our guest is here. He's in the back. He wasn't going to be able to come out with my button not working. You know, and that's it. That's all the control in the world that you need. Imagine you're supposed to launch a nuclear missile and your button didn't work.
Oh my.
You know, you don't think about things like that, but you never know.
All right, so let me tell you a little bit about our guest tonight. He actually lives here around my area. I've been helping him off and on the best I can because his story crazy. I've never had a case like this before ever. And now I'm stuck. So I want him to tell a story. And I told him I want him to air everybody out because the only way to get people to listen is start calling them out by their names.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's all you got, right? It's all
Yeah.
just, you know what, scare the bejesus out of them, make it stick. Because why is it fair that they get to stay in hiding? You know, they get to stay under the shadows, but they're the ones that are breaking all the laws. They're the ones that are making all these things happen. And you, as a parent, have to, you don't, you know, let me just, there you go. There, I just screwed with you a little more, but you can't say anything. Don't say anything. No. Why? So they can go home at night and eat dinner with their loved ones and be like, "How was your day at work, honey? Oh, it was wonderful. I just screwed another family over, but I got us a bonus check, so we'll be able to get our kids this nice gift for Christmas." It's fucking ridiculous. You know?
And the real fucked up part for me is I've never had a dad, right, that has worked so hard to keep his kids out of the system and keep them safe like him ever. Never as hard as he works. And here we are. You can bring him out. Let
All
him
right.
introduce himself.
Yes, sir, Mr. J. Make sure my button works.
Please.
There it is, my button. All right, Mr. J. Oh man, he did have sound, and then he just went to that thing. There we go. They're gonna mess with him already. Mr. J, if you'd go back out and come back in, yeah, there you go. All scenes. Looks like we got him here. All scenes go. There we are. Get him out there. Mr. J, how are we?
Uh oh. Turn your mic on.
Dr. J. Oh, he's a smoker.
I don't know. He might not be. He might not know he's. Can you hear us, Jay?
Let me see what he's got here. We got audio device, camera, one facing. So he's got audio device, speakerphone, and headset earpiece. I don't know which one
He
he's using.
wants speakerphone.
Speakerphone.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now, Mr. J? Let me see. Headset earpiece. How about that one? Is that better, Mr. J?
Okay, where's the speaker?
There we go. You're good. You're talking. We heard you. You're in.
Trying to figure out the sound on this somehow.
Well, I hope you can hear us because we can hear you.
Headset earpiece.
Hello, Naughty Dotty. Naughty Dotty.
Does that work better?
Yeah, it works great. Hi, Naughty Dotty. Naughty Dotty. We're good, Mr. J. How are we
Can
doing?
you hear us? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Miss Dr. J? Dr. J.
You got a headset in?
This is company leader. This is Raymond. You copy, over. Dr. J, you copy, over.
Does he have a headset?
Yeah, it says that we are connected. It says that his headset is engaged. He's got to change maybe on his settings down there, Dr. J. Dr. J, go down the bottom, hit settings key right there, go into audio, and flip your audio so that you can hear it coming to you in your piece there. Oh, my.
Uh-oh.
Well, Hey, Jay. Hey, Paula. They keep silencing us, but they can talk all they want. That's right, Erica. I seen Tammy was out there. She's praying hard. Tammy, what's wrong with you tonight? I see that you look like you're a little frustrated. You okay? Hello, Catherine Thomas. Bob Morris saying, yo, what's up, Bob Morris, huh?
I'm gonna text him. If I get kicked off, I'll be right back.
All right. I was going to talk to Bob Morris over here. Bob Morris and I go way back. Okay. Bob Morris. We could hear him. Catherine says we could hear him. Who else am I missing here? CPS on me. Here we go. I really like the way that we have a nice little community here. I really do appreciate it. And I enjoy it very much. All right, let's see if we got this guy coming out here. Dr. J.
I am attempting to figure this out.
There we go. Hello, Dr. J. DJ.
Okay.
You hear us, Dr. J?
I sent him a text. I told him that we could hear him. I told him to take his earpiece out.
Tiff, not on a live stream. My gosh. Hey, take out your earpiece, won't you? Kids will be running. My God. Tiff, have you gone mad? Can't just whip your earpiece out.
I guess it depends on who you're whipping it out in front of.
Yeah, that's a big earpiece. Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I've been working on my earpiece for a while now. Well, I mean, if this is any indication of how things go, then we're failing. Okay, let's talk to Dr. J again. DJ. DJ.
Hello?
Hey, there you are. You sound really good. You sound good.
Hello?
DJ. Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
I don't really understand this.
He doesn't understand English, Tiff. Great. He doesn't understand English.
Video setting.
Is that what you said? Translator? We need to use translator?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Call him up and tell him we can hear him.
Speakerphone. Yes.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Tiff's going to go right there and going to do this. Said if we kept talking about our case, that she would end the visit. Yeah, Erica, I love that bullshit. That's what cracks me up. First of all, here's the thing. These pieces of shit don't realize that the ones that they're supposed to, the only person that can actually get rid of your visitation is the judge. These caseworkers don't have the power to end your visit. Okay, I'm sorry. They can do a temporary ending because they say that it got you busted the rules or you didn't follow protocol or whatever, so that they struck that. But they can't continue to hold those things against you. It's absolutely asinine when they do that, because what makes them all of a sudden have all the things that they need to what is the word I'm looking for here? The word to let me get Jay in here. The word not certification, but what makes them qualified to determine that whatever happened out there was some sort of an outbreak or disassociation with the kid to the father or whatever. They don't have those qualifications to determine that while on a break, and they want to stop visits because you didn't listen to what the caseworker told you. I don't see anywhere in that manual that says the caseworker can stop this because they don't like what you said to them. I don't think that they get to determine what not and what these people will listen to and get not to listen to, Like, it's crazy. There's Tiff. So, Erica,
Right, so he's going to try and come back in.
Okay. Their father, why he hasn't been coming to the visitations, and he said that the case won't let her until she meets with him, and she said that she will, at the end of the visitation, she will end the visitation. Again, the only people that can completely stop your visitations is a judge. If they're going to try and stop your visitations because you missed or you came in late for a visitation or whatever, tough titties. That's not up to them to allow that, but you need to go through their drinks and food policies, all of those things. Make sure that you're in, all the other things in your visits you're all up and cordial with. But no, do not let them say to you that you can't visit anymore and let that go by. Not for 1 second. You go to those courts, you get an emergency injunction, you go there and you tell them that they're in contempt of court because they're not following the
File a motion to show cause.
motion to show cause. I mean, you have a bunch of avenues to go down for that. But the bottom line is, do not let that go by. Don't let them continue to stall or stop you from being at those visits, because every one of those stall or stop visits, there's going to be more and more notes again about how that has affected the child, how that has done this, that, and the other. So you need to just fight these bastards tooth and nail for now. Now it's a war. You're in it. So get on it, lady. Don't let them get away with the bullshit, because they're going to try to put the bullshit on you. Is what they're going to try to do. Dr. J. Mr. J. Tell him, akucha kanina patana na kana medina. She say to go ahead and push setting button on the bottom. On the bottom have the setting button that we will push, and then it will say audio. Audio.
I told him what to do. I think it's YouTube.
I think that it's his audio is not letting him hear what is going on. There it comes again. Down the road again. It's right here on the board again. We're back in. Jeff. Oh, hey. Jeff.
I still cannot hear anything, unfortunately.
Jeff. Joe. Oh, Joe.
Write in the comments for him, because I'm on my phone.
You sure his name's Joe? Joe.
This is silly. All right. How do I turn this thing up?
What do you think he's thinking about?
He can't hear us.
Yeah, I know that.
Is it on your side, Darren? Can you unmute him?
Settings.
Let's see. Negative
settings.
Not on my side.
Audio device. Speakerphone.
There you go. He's found it. That's where you got to be, buddy.
Okay. It's on right.
Speakerphone. Yep. You should be able to hear us.
Speakerphone is on right.
Hello, Joe. Okay. She tried to say that in the court stated that he needed to contact her and meet with her to establish visitation again after he was released.
He's following me. Hold on.
Yep. So, okay. But either way, him being in jail is no reason to stop the visitations. Him being in jail is no reasons to do any of that. You were outside of the jail when he was in jail, taking care of the kid just fine. Kids are your kids. So being incarcerated is not a reason, a standoff, good enough reason to. Right, there's going to be more than that, more than just what you just said. Here we go. Come on, people. Here comes Tiff back. It's Tiff.
I'm trying. I'm trying to get my phone back up on this thing here. Okay, so he's gonna have to go through Chrome. I told him to go through Chrome.
Go through Chrome, Joe Jeff. How's that?
What? There
go.
we are. I see your mouse is working.
There we go. Joe Jeff going through Chrome. Oh man, I really like this wrap that I put on here, but see, it cuts you off. Like you only got your little head up there. It doesn't do it to me. There we go. See, that's better. So Joe,
I like that picture of us too, right there.
Which one on the bottom?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're in between the two lines. See that?
What'd you do today?
What did I do? I worked on my paperwork for the town, trying to sue them. It's a lot to learn, you know. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of codes and things to take in with town stuff. My God, they just, I swear to God, they're like a bunch of little kids writing legislation. They just write whatever they want to write in there, it seems like. They just put in there whatever they want to put, you know, for whatever example. So it's hard as hell to find your way around any of their stuff, you know, because it even reads like that. It reads like it's like, oh, well, Joe Blow got mad at Joe Blow because of this. And so Joe Blowettes now has a rule that Joe Blow and Joe Blow can't go to the feed store after 5 p.m. because they've been liquored up and, you know, all this stupid shit. You're like, what does this have to do with anything? You know, like their policies and procedures and things like that have been in place since 1803 or whatever. It's, you know, they still have the freaking don't sell liquor on Sunday for the Sabbath, you know, if you're within a mile of the church, you know, so they can't serve beer until 1 o'clock now. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So in your app, does it help you file complaints against judges and lawyers?
As far as help you, meaning does it help write those?
Yeah.
You can ask it to write for you whatever you want to write. And it will know things to do. That's why having your paper uploaded in there, all your docs uploaded, it gives the AI more of a curve to work with in your case because it analyzes what's going on and it starts, everything comes through there. So it uses your timeline, it sets your timeline for you, it does all of that stuff. And then when you're asking the AI questions, it will now have something accustomed to go by for your specific case. You know, like if we were just asking it about the visitation or whatever, then it might already seen paperwork that has come through there and it might see like, oh yeah, I remember on May 6th or whatever. So anyway, the whole point is what I was just saying is yes, then you'll go to the document generator and you'll say, hey, I want to write a recusal letter for the judge. And it'll say, oh, Judge Harry Brown, that was in your cases on this date and this date and this date, you know, whatever. And it'll be able to reference all the things that you've already inserted there for it. So yes, the answer in a roundabout way was to say, yes, Tiff, you can.
Okay, good. Is he in?
He is here, but let's see if he's in. All right. Click, click, click. Are you there, my friend?
Yep, I'm here. I can hear you now.
Holy Santa Claus shit on a Monday.
Right. Tiffany had the right advice.
Oh, right. He's getting good at this technology stuff.
Yeah, she troubleshot that pretty well.
Way to go, Tiff. That's why I feel like one of these.
All right, yeah, I apologize. Kind of where I'm sitting right now is just in an old truck side of the road catching some fresh air. So.
Oh man, that sounds like a great country setting right there. You know.
Well, aside from the occasional sirens and stuff, yes.
All right, perfect. And those little peepers out there going.
Yeah, right. The toads and the spring peepers, right?
Yeah, Jesus God, I want to suffocate them half the time. All right, my man, your stage, your place. What do we got going on?
Okay, where would you guys like me to begin? Do you want the full or kind of start in the past couple of years here?
Wherever you feel like it's necessary for people to understand your story.
Okay. Basically, I'll start in
No,
2018.
don't start there. Don't start there.
Don't start there?
I'm just kidding with you.
Okay.
Stop.
I think that one may set the stage for the way that things have gone currently.
All right, perfect. Let's hear it.
All right. 2018 springtime. My wife, who is bipolar, she's been diagnosed bipolar, begins a manic episode in the springtime, which is a normal thing for her. Seeks out substance abuse, things to control moods, tempers, so on and so forth. She burns into a manic episode for the better part of 3.5 months. It culminates in 4 of our children being removed on a false bruise on my son's neck. Basically, what had happened was she had been fighting with a school counselor in Augusta County, Virginia. I did not reside there. I resided up in Warren County at the time. That becomes important because I believe they thought we were adversarial. And instead, I was going down there each day to support her through this episode, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Anyhow, there was an argument going on over my son's IEP. And the school counselor, through CPS, took it upon themselves to create an injury on my son. They had no medical documentation for it, meaning they had not taken him to a hospital, a doctor, anywhere. Matter of fact, there was no medical observation whatsoever for a 6-year-old, 50-pound boy who she was accused of choking. It was under my care when we went back home the following day to Warren County. I put the children out in the sprinkler and didn't even think about it, but everything washed off. And I proceeded to call the CPS worker, agent, whatever, Stasi lady. And I asked her 2 questions. And I said, hey, she said, okay, first question. I said, well, did you guys take my son to a doctor yesterday or a hospital or anything? And she said, no. And I said, okay, well, you had him in your care or custody or whatever from 9 a.m. till about 4 p.m. when I arrived. You guys didn't have the time to do that? And she said, no. I said, okay. She said, what's your second question? I said, can you tell me where the marks went to? And she asked which marks, and I said, all of them. There's nothing there. She asked for photos. I took photos immediately, provided photos. And then she passed the buck over to law enforcement and told me to contact a certain cop, and I did. He didn't get back to me until the following week.
Jesus.
But there were no marks on my son. And I gave the cop a day or so to get back to me. He didn't get back to me. So I proceeded to take my son to the emergency room in Winchester. And I was honest with the triage people there and told them, my son is suspected of being abused. Can you guys find somebody to give him an examination? And they did. We waited an hour, but a forensic nurse named Lisa Wells showed up and proceeded to examine my son. She went from top to bottom, was very thorough. She had a very extensive career in this. Her name held a lot of credibility. And she wrote up a report because there was a problem with the whole story. There was no injury on my son. And she took it upon herself to begin calling the local CPS agents in Augusta County, Virginia, the following day, which was a Monday. Now, granted, this is 3 days after the marks on his neck, And immediately she contacts me back and says that she's contacting them and they're hanging up on her and yelling at her and stuff. So 2 days after that, after a bunch of harassment in Warren County, Virginia, because apparently I erred on the moral judgment side of bringing my wife back home with me, we went to what was supposed to be a protective order hearing in Waynesboro, Virginia, at which time they switched it around unbeknownst to me to a child removal hearing for violating their safety plan. And for me, it was a moral thing. It was kind of like, the chick was struggling. And I didn't want to leave her to her own devices alone in an apartment with no kids.
Right.
So I made that decision. And, we ultimately paid for it, though. I mean, they did remove the children that day. They ended up chasing my son around the courthouse. I was naive enough and not understanding. And I even brought my son there to show the judge there's no marks on him. And today is 1 week from they say the marks occurred. They had the nurse's report, and out of 600 plus words in there declaring him injury free, they could only find one sentence that suited their needs. And that sentence was literally stating that she acknowledged she didn't have the full story. And that was it. So they removed the children for an entire year and about 7 days. They stuck them in Wythe County, Virginia, in a foster care. I had to drive my wife down to Roanoke twice a week to see them. We got, garnished, child support, the full 9 yards, the full works, just for a circuit court judge to send them back home. And the culmination of the matter was literally meeting some CPS goon on the side of the road, didn't even check my ID or anything, never even seen the guy before, and he just says, here's your kids. And that was it. But that led us to Winchester, Virginia, because one of their stipulations was to get a better house. And at that time, my wife was with child, and she gave birth on October 1st, 2019. Literally a week after the child was born, our daughter, CPS shows up at the door with the police, and apparently my wife had tested positive for THC, which she shouldn't have been. And from then on, it's been a nightmare of just literally substance abuse and just repeated escalating, side effects of bipolar and cluster B as well. She's been diagnosed as both. And for some reason, things were more or less okay. But I guess there were some traumatic events in her life where some family had passed away in 2021. And that led us to the here and now of basically a manic episode that burned on from, I'd say probably February of 2022. And it culminated in me having to TDO her, which for anybody listening is basically an involuntary commitment, for observation, in August of 2022. And that was after a $16,000 tax theft. That was after I was assaulted repeatedly. That was after she had one of my children assault me. That was after she had packed up half of our home in a paranoid fashion and moved it 2.5 hours away without me even knowing it. Like she was staging empty boxes to appear that they were still full, etc. It was weird. I'd always told her, if you want to leave, just be an adult and sit me down and explain it, so that way it's less traumatic for the kids. But in that mood and personality aspect, a lot of times the caregiver becomes the bad guy. They become controlling. They're labeled narcissists. They're labeled anything under the sun with who they are. And once you understand that, it becomes a little easier to navigate, so to speak. But in her case, she has the ability to walk into a court of law, for instance, and put on a good show. And she literally just gets her way. But then behind closed doors, she will attempt to contact me about, intimacy or anything else, which becomes really crazy because then you explain to them that, on one level, something is happening. On the other level, it's different, But effectively, the here and now, that 2022, DSS put her out of the house for, I think it was about 5 months. And the judge finally sent her home. But for that period of time, I was out of work. They didn't offer any childcare or anything. And then my wife got caught trying to buy substance to pass drug tests in May of 2023. She had been back in the home for about a month and a half. And the need for substance abuse becomes very important. And that it's a telltale sign of where the moods are at and where the episodes are beginning. So she throws on the waterworks when she got caught with that, and DSS helps her move across town under the auspice that she may have been abused. And when she was asked, how are you abused or controlled, she just said financially. That's it. There was no other facts to the matter. Even my children espoused to that idea. They, dad's never touched mom. Nothing's happened like that. She moves across town and just begins to start to melt down, just begins to self-destruct. By springtime of 2024, she was already back in the same throes of, bipolar, meaning like in the springtime, she was elevated again, dysphoric, and seeking out any substance under the sun, even though she was prohibited from that. My daughter accessed records off of a Facebook Messenger, which literally touched every bell and whistle a CPS worker would want to hear. And it was literally describing the fact that she had a pound of weed in her apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, with 4 little girls there. And this is a woman that's on SSI, by the way.
Oh,
So she has a fixed government income. And she's got a pound of weed in the apartment. And she's talking about, taking off with some dude. And literally writes it out in the messaging about giving her 4-year-old at the time her cell phone to put in the backseat of the car to occupy her so they can roll around and get high and end up at his place and do whatever.
Jesus.
So that touches everything. And a friend of mine who's a social worker also, but she's not these kind of social workers. She works inside of a facility for children with psychiatric problems, I guess, She saw the messaging when she was working on a printer over there. We ran it by her, and she's a mandated reporter. So she said, you're going to have to let somebody know something's up. So we made arrangements to go talk to the Winchester Police Department as opposed to DSS, just to qualify as we had told somebody something. And we did that. And the only thing that they did was to promptly contact DSS.
Jackasses.
At which time the DSS took all the evidence, all the print material, and we fast forward a month and a half, and my wife's sitting on her bed laughing because the DSS agent is telling her everything that had been said. So it just kind of goes from there. Late June, everything is dismissed or whatever, that's unfounded or whatever they want to call it. They did no intervention, They couldn't figure out why somebody in SSI would have a pound of weed in their apartment anyhow, but whatever. I guess the best way to the next step here is that right around June 13th, she meets a local crackhead / coke dealer guy. Promptly brings him into her place the next day. At the time, my 12-year-old son, explained to her he wasn't comfortable. And that began a series of arguments between him and her. That culminates with her dropping my son off unceremoniously at our former home. And she just drives away. So he's there for 3 days with no food that mom provided, just food that I had. He has no clothing but what he was wearing for 3 days. She's not answering her phone. So the evening of July 4th, myself, himself, and my oldest daughter at the time, who was 13, decided to walk across town to go pick up some clothes for him. And we knock on the door, and he announces that, he's there to get some clothes, and she answers the door. And then he walks in the door, takes about 4 steps, and he says, "Hey, look, Dad, there's the crackhead I told you about sitting there on a bed." And I just popped my head in there, and I said, "Okay, oh, yeah, there's a crackhead sitting there, all right." And then she proceeds to attack me, throws me out the door, full 9 yards, end up in a headlock. Now my 13-year-old's, she's just standing there watching this. My son's in the apartment, and she now starts grabbing my son, trying to get him to stop from leaving. So he and her end up in a fight. And it's as if, she just doesn't want him to leave. They end up blows, and he finally gets away. So we walk outside, and my daughter proceeds to, do what people do. She just contacts the PD. They show up there in a minute, and they begin to arrest her. Now, this all comes back to the accountability thing. She was high as a kite. She'd been partying all day, partying for weeks on end. And she gets arrested. She gets charged with domestic assault. And I think it was abduction by force of violence or something, for trying to prohibit my son from leaving. And the next thing that happens is the prosecution contacts me and asks if we would be interested in a deferred finding, meaning like a mental health finding. And I said, okay, that's fine. I will support that. But, you guys have to put a moratorium on substance in there and enforce it. I said, because basically the way it works for her system is that, any substance abuse takes the highest highs, makes them higher, and it makes the lows lower. It's a means of regulating mood and feeling, man. That's all there is to it. I get it.
Yeah.
So we walk into the court hearing to agree to that. And lo and behold, apparently the court cannot put a moratorium on all substance because weed is now legal. And I made the argument to the judge that weed is not legal. It's actually just decriminalized. And I said, in the mental health aspect, it's kind of a driving factor in a lot of this right now. I said, my whole family, my home, life, everything here, my kids have been ripped apart because of her need to regulate due to the mental health problems. And at which time the judge said she agreed with me, but she had no mechanism to put in place to prohibit her from using. And then I politely told the judge, I said, okay, well, if there's no prohibition, we're going to be back in front of you within a year. And lo and behold, we were back in front of her within, I think, I don't know, maybe 8 months, 9 months. And that was for my wife getting arrested again. By that time, after another 4 months forced unemployment, I was back at work, and I received a phone call on June 11th. And that phone call is literally just saying that, my child's in court. And I made a joke and I said, hey, is she steal milk or something? And they said, no, she is there because your wife is there. I said, okay. And the lady informed me that most likely she was going to jail for failing a drug test because she was, not cooperating, I guess is the way it was termed. And sure enough, she failed a drug test. She failed a known court date for alcohol, THC, and cocaine. Now, I'll back up for a second here also. 2 days before that, she was at my family home beating on the windows and the doors so much that my oldest daughter, who was now 14 at that time, thought somebody was breaking in and called me up crying. So I took them to the magistrate and told the magistrate that I was not there that day, but the children were. Can they please talk to you? And they talked for a while, and they issued a protective order against the mother. And that was the day before that court date. We didn't even know the court date was happening. But upon typical response from CPS or whatever here, as is the norm now, when she gets arrested, they start demanding that I sign these safety plans or something to get their kids, get the kids back or something. I don't know. This time I politely refused because I said the prior 2 times that I've signed anything with you, I lose my employment within a month or 2. And I resisted signing it all the way up until mid-July. Because by that time we were under an eviction threat as of June 10th, I guess it was, but it was ruled illegal. Meaning like 2 hours before the sheriffs are supposed to come to the house, they ruled it illegal because the rent was paid up for a number of months. But through all this, we've developed a pretty, I don't know, negative rapport with the landlord, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, 2 different job cycles that you're out of work simply because somebody has a substance abuse problem. So the next thing that happens effectively is that I go to file for custody because this is now officially the 4th time that she has messed up. And they've dropped kids off with me and asked me to take care of them until she gets better. And I even approached it as, we don't want to take kids from anybody, but the cycle has to stop. And, you know, they just kept on pushing and pushing and pushing. So finally I signed a document just saying, you know, the mom can't come by and pick them up. And, you know, they were trying to say, you know, if you get a restraining order against her again, then so be it, you know. But the court would not issue the custody. The court would not issue a restraining order. They decided to postpone it until she was out of jail. And speed up to August, I guess, by that time. We'd already defeated the eviction. And my 14-year-old was now minding the children at home primarily during the day. And the very first thing that happens in August is there's a court hearing, and a guardian ad litem here walks into the court hearing and demands that an order be put in place that I have an 18-year-old at home during the day and a 21-year-old home at night to monitor the children. My first thought was they're after my job again, and that's exactly what happened. Basically, the way it ends up working out is that DSS begins to contact me again and say that we don't want you to be in contempt of court. We're going to find you childcare. And I said, that's fine. I said, I've been looking for childcare for months now, but I said, I cannot really locate anybody available that time in the morning. So I took my 2-year-old and brought her to my brother's home in Pennsylvania and made an arrangement with them that I would pick her up on, I guess it was Fridays, and drop her off on Sundays to attempt to comply with this court order. So my daughter was not babysitting the child. That left 2 little girls there, a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old currently at that time. And that was it. But that left my 14-year-old to get up at 6 in the morning and simply walk him to a bus stop at 6:50 in the morning. And at the end of the day, she would meet him at the bus stop and bring him home, and I would come home about an hour later. Again, still attempting to comply with the court order. So now this guardian ad litem begins to email my attorney and tell my attorney that she's been watching my home and has sat outside my home on about 10 different occasions. And she was monitoring what time I come home and return from work. Mind you, I'm not out partying. I'm in a marked work vehicle. It's tracked. They know exactly where I'm at all times.
Yep.
And the lady is literally sitting across the street from my home, hiding in some bushes or something, I don't know, to watch what time I come home. Then the woman proceeds, this is like 15 days after the order that she had put in place, barring my 14-year-old from watching her siblings, which is a natural right that my 14-year-old had under the state of Virginia guidelines. She proceeds to show up one day when I'm at work, my 14-year-old's alone, and she pushes her way past my 14-year-old into my home. My child even told her that you're not supposed to be here. I don't, you know. And the lady said she's allowed to be there and pushed right past her. And then proceeds to use my child's words to get me written up on a show cause hearing, which is basically contempt of court. Now, the facts of the matter is that once the baby was out of the home, my 14-year-old's response to being alone was to go out and seek out antidepressants. She had not been on antidepressants for 2 years. Stressed, yes. She was stressed out, but the way she described it was that having her little sister there was giving her a reason to get up every morning. You know, so it's like it was a positive note. She expressed the fact the other girls were rather annoying. Yes, little girls can get rather annoying. They get into everything. They want to play around outside all day. They get, you know, they're just into everything, you know, if there's no kind of, it's summertime, you know? So I can concur. I can empathize with that. But she wanted that baby there with her. And that was the response to seek out antidepressants.
Right.
And so this woman takes my daughter's words about needing antidepressants, and there were some complications on the pharmacy issuing them, writes up a whole show cause thing about how I'm using her as child care still, and I was not. I was doing everything to comply with these court orders, but to keep employment also. Mind you, this is the second job loss prior to this one. I now have these huge gaps in my employment history. It's getting harder and harder to fill those, you know, in a meaningful way. And so I was trying everything to keep this employment intact. Basically a catch-22. You know, if I don't work, the kids don't get supported. They go homeless, you know. If I decide to sit at home and wait for a new job to fall into my lap, by then the damage is done. So this woman files a show cause based on those two things. She announces in court, emails my attorney even, and my attorney contacts me and says, I'm not sure what she's doing. Is she stalking you or something? I don't get it. And I was like, I don't know. She announces to the judge that she's been to my house, you know, 10 times watching. She calls my daughter a liar because she asked my daughter, what time does your father get home? She says, generally around 4 o'clock.
That was rough. Yeah, wow. So what we do know is that there's a substance abuse problem here.
He is now homeless.
Oh my God.
They gave custody to the mother. The son is with a neighbor, and he has to find a job.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, if anybody out there, this is just crazy. That's so obscene. All of this because he asked for help. The basis of all of this is asking these pieces of shit for help. You know?
Yeah.
Let that sink in. Let that sink in real good with everybody. You know, like this is just because they went and asked for help for his wife.
Same thing that happened to our buddy in California.
Yep.
Is he back?
He's back. He says he's there, but whether he's back, I don't know. Jay, you there? There he is. Yo, Jay. Dr. J.
I hope he went through Chrome.
Yo, Jay. Yeah, because you don't realize it.
A lot of times,
Joe.
Go to jail.
Joe, you're breaking up.
Yeah,
Oh.
Me.
I'm at a loss, man. I don't know what else to do. I tried to help him.
So where are we with these things right now? If we don't get him back here,
What do you mean?
like where are we at with this whole thing now? Now it's just a big pile of mess. Is that where we're at?
In February, instead of mom going to jail, they gave her 2 years probation and gave her custody of the kids.
Why did he
Anyways,
go to jail?
No, because he didn't get in trouble. She
Okay.
went to jail.
He went to
Break-
jail.
She did not go to jail.
Okay.
so you're
And they gave her custody of the kids. The abuser,
okay,
the
so
one
I
that's a
know.
drug addict.
Right.
So he is now evicted and homeless
Right.
because he can't keep a job because of this guardian ad litem.
Man, oh man.
And I feel bad for him because, like I said, I've never had a father go this, I don't even know, this
Yeah.
far to help his own kids and to get slapped in the face every single time.
Most kids would love for their father just to pick up a phone and say hello, you know, that I do them
Right?
right like this.
Just bad.
Yeah, Erica, that's, you know, same thing with you too. You ask for help and here they come. It's
Yeah.
Calvary coming in to save the world, destroy your family, save the world.
So I told him today, I said, well, since they gave her custody, let her deal with the child care. Let her deal with the bullshit. You go get a job, get back on your feet, get your son, and move on.
That's right. I agree 100%.
But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. She's going to go back into a manic bullshit. And then, you know what? I think he even said the next time that she comes in front of them, they're taking the kids and putting them in foster care. They're not even giving them to him.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that they probably have a little bit of history here with the records of the town and everything.
It's terrible. Well, maybe he can come back on tomorrow and finish telling his story.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should. I mean, there's a lot to be told here.
Yeah.
Uh,
So when we get off, I will call him and tell him to just click back on that link tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm down with that. We got more of Joe tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll give him a holler tonight too and finish talking to him about what we can do to help him for educational purposes only.
Yeah. And I want to put his Cash App up,
Yeah.
even if it's a couple bucks, because this man has nothing.
Yep.
Hold on. I guess my sister's leaving tomorrow.
I'll put it right here in the chat.
It is.
On your side.
Hold on. Crap, it's in my phone. I thought
You got that classic. FCPS is right. Rochelle, what's up? Oh, Jamie, get your glasses
it's
on.
the $,
Yep.
GI Joe JOE 002 US.
G.I. Joe.
002 US. Us.
U002 US. All right. I'm going to send him a couple bucks.
Even if it's $5, $10, can everybody please help?
I think I have some.
I know he would appreciate it.
I will send him $10 right now. See, this is the stuff I hate. That this is like, you know, like I should be able to send him way more than that, you know? Ridiculous. Oh, good.
I gave at the office too.
Pay to G.I. Joe.
Did it come up? Did it come up?
I'm working
G.I. Joe
on
002 US.
Yep, sure does. Comes up,
There
buddy.
it is.
GG. Yep, comes up. JG, guys. Pay for shoes. So everything in my Cash App says shoes.
Wow, it should say Timu.
Used to. So now I need to get Timu. I need to make some more money so I can Timu and get some stuff back. All right, Joe. There you go, buddy. So she's right, guys. It is that G.I. Joe 002 US. That's his Cash App. So yeah. All right. So till tomorrow, guys.
Thank you. And I'll call him as soon as we get off.
Call him up and let him know whatever we got to let him know.
All right.
Okay, guys. We will see you all tomorrow to hear the rest of Joe's story. And yeah. Have a good night. Bye, Tiff.
Tiff and the Punisher, they won't back down. Screaming out loud in every town. Stand against the system that's gone insane. Fighting like lions, don't feel no pain. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. Voices heard, don't tread on me. Taking back rights, we will be free. Constitution in our veins, breaking these chains and claiming gains. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. CPS stealing kids, they gotta go. Fight the good fight, let